Hello, everybody. My name is Louis Lee, and this is Plan Traffic. We do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, so please share with your friends and family that are into cars, boats, trucks, or anything you put gas in. We got my man Anthony from Hardcore FAB. We got my man Ray from Motor Mouth Radio. What's up, fellas?
Hardcore Radio.
Not much.
Yeah, really interested to talk to Anthony tonight. I want to find out all about Hardcore FAB. I got a feeling you do some pretty cool stuff.
Oh, we try to do everything a little bit different than everybody else does, and that's pretty hard to do a lot of the times, but I feel like we accomplish it most of the time.
Well, the first thing I think of when I hear something like that is like, define different for me, because everybody's idea of different is different, you know. So
I'm pretty hardcore set against doing anything that's relatively close to stock in any way, shape, or form.
Nice.
So a lot of the stuff that we do is on air ride, or it's been lifted, or suspension modifications for sure, and then usually some pretty heavy body modifications and all that as well, and
right,
generally different upgrades on the drivetrain and all that too. So not much of it's left unmessed with when we get done most of the time.
And you handle all of that in one facility.
Yep.
That's different.
Yeah, we try to do almost everything we can in house. There's a few things that we don't mess with, and that's like transmissions. I don't do transmissions, although I feel like I need to start doing them because we're having a hard time being able to find anybody in our area that's doing them now. And then
where are you located, Anthony? I'm sorry.
Kansas, Hutchinson, Kansas.
Okay.
Really, really close to right dead set in the middle of the country.
Right.
Okay.
And
so here's his
we don't do any tuning or anything like that either. So that's also something that we'd like to get into messing with too as well.
So do you do a lot of the EFI stuff that requires tuning, or are you more carburetor oriented?
Both, either way. That truck you see on the screen there with the little wrecker truck.
Yeah.
That one's got a 6-liter LS in it with a 671 on top of it blower. Nice. And we started out with EFI on that with the Holly Sniper stuff, but that didn't work out real well for us, and I actually went back to carburetors on that one.
I love when people say that, because I want to know why. And I question people about this all the time. I'm trying to build my own database of what, where the problems lie. So is there anything specifically that you could say you had the problem with, or was it just general?
With that one in particular, it kind of seemed like there was always a problem where it would kind of lose its tune, or lose, kind of how it's supposed to be running anyways, because like you'd drive it all day one day and it would drive perfectly fine, take it home and park it and get it out the next day and try to leave with it, and it might die 20 times before it would finally start to run good and be to where you could drive it.
Now, was that already a seasoned build where the system had already learned?
Yeah, that was an ongoing thing, and I actually took it to a tuner and talked to them about it a little bit, and we messed with it there, and by the time it left, it ran great that day, and then within a week, it was back to running like garbage with absolutely nobody touching anything, and never lost, all the voltage where it went dead or anything like that to where it would have messed with any memory. But I kind of personally question on that one whether or not maybe the blower come into play with that some. I might be completely wrong, but I kind of feel like maybe the blower and the EFI was fighting against each other.
I know they have a provision for blowers, because I'm using 2 snipers on my car, so I'm familiar with the software.
Yeah.
But like the question I would ask is, were you saving your programs, saving the programs onto the memory chip, and then if you were, when the car ran like crap, did you just reinitialize the last saved version and then it ran okay, or did it still run like crap?
It would still kind of run like crap for a little bit, and then it would finally pick up and kind of go, So
then I would say I would definitely say that it's on the computer side. It's
really random, and if it would be something that'd be consistent, it'd be easy to say it was this certain thing, but
yeah,
the fact that it's so random.
I mean, I'm not an expert on this stuff by any means. I'd never claim to be, but just from logic and what I've seen, on my own, it sounds like that was more like an ECU issue with the sniper.
And probably kind of what was the last nail in the coffin for me is we went to the PRI show, and I stopped into the Holly booth and started asking questions. And one of the guys that I talked to that was supposed to be the expert on the sniper stuff and be able to line me out there according to the other guys in the booth. I told him what I had, and then I told him that I had the sniper 2x4 set up on there, and he kind of turned his nose up for a second, and then he said, "Okay, well, what you're going to have to do." And so then that was just kind of like, oh, so he's probably already familiar with the fact that these are having problems. And
it's interesting because, I lean on Holly a lot. I called them quite a bit for tech advice. And I got a guy, and when I told him, I said, listen, this is a little maybe outside the ordinary. I said, but I have a 2x4 setup. And he was like, really? What'd you put it on? He goes, yeah, I'm running one of them too. I found a guy who was like all in with 8-barrel snipers. And I was like, yeah, great. Excellent.
I was super excited when I got it to begin with. And that truck there, we actually built as a part of the International Radical Rod Build-Off. So initially, we were supposed to meet in Lincoln, Nebraska, and then drive from there to Vegas to the SEMA show as part of that build-off. And so that's why I put the EFI on there to begin with, and thinking that was going to be a lot better setup to run up and down the road and go through the mountains and whatever, and not have to be messing with stuff.
But, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I mean, I've heard a lot of horror stories, and that's why I always like to question people, see if I can get any more information. Because there's people that ask me questions, and the more that I learn, the more I can help other people.
Sure.
I mean, like I got my stuff from a guy. I got mine used. Guy had it on a 55 Chevy. He had a 55 Chevy with a tunnel ram, dual quads on a tunnel ram. Decided to put a 2x4 sniper system on a tunnel ram.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on himself. Drove it. And this is what I heard from a mutual friend of ours. Said, yeah, he drove it 50 miles, hated it, took it off. I was like, 50 miles.
That's not enough to know if you like it or not.
More than 50 miles, So I said, what did he replace it with? Well, then he replaced it with a single sniper. So now he did an intake change, went to a single sniper, didn't like that, took it off. I said, so what's on the car now? 2 Hollies on a tunnel ram. He went back to what he knew. I said, where'd all the snipers go? He goes, well, he's got them. So we made a deal. I bought the duals, and my friend bought the single for pennies on the dollar. And I found out, the back page of that sniper manual, they have like 8 or 10 pictures of all the things not to do with the wiring. He did all of them plus a couple more. So it was a bad installation from the start. And this is the thing that I say, the first thing I learned, well, I knew this forever. I always say, car guys don't read. They do not read instructions. Yep. They can't sit down with a manual and go through it. And this guy, if he would have done that, he would have had a much better result, So,
I'm guilty of that myself, for sure. And even on that particular build, I didn't hook up the boost reference right off the bat because I just was throwing it together, and we were in SEMA crunch time, and I was trying to get it to where it would run. And when I first fired it up, it was wanting to run at like 2,500 RPM. It I couldn't get it to idle down because it didn't have the boost reference in there.
Yeah. No, that's understandable.
Yeah.
I had a lot of IAC problems like a lot of people had, and how to work through that. And, just went methodical and just said, just do this one step at a time. Start asking a lot of questions and see where we go. But, okay. That's
that other truck that was in that same picture that you had up a second ago. It's got a tall deck 427 in it. And I've got a tunnel ram sitting there, and I might end up going ahead and trying to put that Holly setup over onto that and see if it ends up acting a little bit better without having the blower surge going on there at the same time.
Yeah. I would almost be inclined to, if it was me, to send the snipers back to Holly and say, check these things out, run them through and check them out, make sure the ECUs are right. Because I know in the beginning there was a lot of problems with the ECUs. A lot of guys had trouble, and Holly was warrantying them. Then there was a lot of perceived problems, and the perceived problems because guys, they blamed everything on RFI. No, well, the the unit is too close to the distributors, too close to the coil. Now a lot of it was improper wiring, is what it was. But there were legitimate ECU problems, that I'd heard about. Yeah, well, good luck on the second go around. That's
we'll see what happens. That's not in my priority anytime soon. I've got so much other stuff to do. So
right. Yeah,
hate to tear apart something and mess with it when it's already sitting there running.
Yeah, and like you said, like when you're in crunch time, you have a build, you have a big show. It's kind of hard to slow down and take your time. You got to go. So kind of like Lewis, man's got to get on the road with his bus. Got to go.
Yeah.
What's the bus build?
Say again.
What's the bus build?
I bought an old retired school bus. It's a 03 International Bluebird, and it's a 72 passenger. And we stripped it all out and lifted the roof 8 inches and turned it into a RV. And I'm in it right now, actually. I'll turn the camera.
Oh, you got that looking pretty good.
I tell you, it's as nice as a house in there. It really is.
Yeah. We're gonna live in it full time. So me and my wife are gonna travel the country. I'm gonna do car stuff and to see the country and enjoy life. We retired early, and that's what we're doing.
Well, congratulations. That's going to be pretty cool.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Still got a little bit of work. I still have to do the cab section, and I'm going to do it like a car. So I'm going to do a car dashboard with leather and, iPad in the dash, cup holders, the full car thing. I'm going to do a headliner, suede headliner and stuff. So
sweet.
I'm gonna start with that probably next week, I hope. And so the weather breaks a little bit. Ohio is a little nippy.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't the whole East Coast?
Yeah. So what do you got on your shelf right now? What are you working on? You got any special builds?
What we're working on right now, I've got a couple of customer vehicles in there right now that we're doing. I've got a 53 Chevy car that we took and we chopped the top on it, did 3 inches in the front and 4 1/4 in the back, kind of gave it a raked look on the roof. And then we did the 56 Packard tail lights on the back of it. The car originally had a roll pan and some other stuff done to it, and the back of it just looked like somebody backed it into a brick wall and left it, So now with the Packard tail lights, it's got nice big fins back there and cool looking lights and everything, and that's changed the whole entire back of the car. And done some other modifications, like on those cars, for instance, they had a little body line that was only on the fender. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. They did that in like 53, 54, 55.
Yes.
Right through there. And that annoys the heck out of me that it's only on the fender.
Really?
It's like, why is it on the fender? Just take it off or put it down the rest of the car,
Right.
Make it match. So we ended up taking that off the fender. We just sliced that out and hammered it flat and then welded it back up and cleaned up the French headlights, and all that kind of stuff. And the hood, welded it all up in one piece and smoothed it all out, and just the general stuff like that.
You see a trend, Lewis? That's what Arco was talking about a couple of weeks ago, where, once you do body mods on a car, the taillights really become a defining element now that really change that car. And so let me ask you this, Anthony, when you do a chop, because this was a topic we talked about a couple of weeks ago, do you do the roof first and then work out the glass, or do you consider the glass before you do the chop?
I personally feel like you kind of got to do all of it at once, in your head when you're putting it together. I mean, if you're not taking into consideration all the aspects of it, how do you know that you're not doing it wrong? I mean, that's kind of my take on it anyways.
Yeah. Through time and history, I think most guys, they just concentrated so much on that top chop, and then they left the glass for last and found out, like, holy shit, this is going to be 100 times harder than I thought it was going to be. And Arco was explaining how he considers it beforehand and literally channels the glass down in front of the firewall and leaves it a complete piece of curved glass, doesn't try to cut it. This way it can be changed with any stock windshield, but you can't see it because it's hidden. I'd love to see one of those builds. I really would. I can picture it, but I haven't seen it.
That's a pretty common thing to do on that, actually, with the windshield. I didn't do this particular car that way. It's going to actually have to have the glass cut. But another thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration too is keeping the glass on the same plane. You know, when you chop it, the glass is lined up here. When you chop it, this goes down. Well, now they're not on the same plane.
Right.
And if you don't keep that in the same plane, you can't cut the original glass down. You're going to have to make something completely new from scratch. And I had a guy that was in the shop just a couple of weeks ago that was complaining to me about how another guy chopped his top, and it was like a big giant ordeal to get a windshield back in it. And just turned into a big mess.
That's one thing if you're dealing with an early pre-war car. It's got flat glass, no big deal. But when you get into those curved shields, that's got to be done right. It's got to look right. It's and it's a lot harder. Yeah.
And then like on that car there, the 53 has a back window that wraps around too.
Right.
And I didn't like the look of that window, so we actually took the 51 back window and put it in that car. And we turned it upside down to be able to make it actually fit in there right.
Oh wow. But, I love when guys do that. Yeah.
Fits in there and looks pretty good.
Nice.
Yep.
You know, when you're building something like that, it gives you, I guess you have a lot more freedom to turn the windshield or the rear window upside down because you're building the whole thing. And it's hard to get into that mode until you start, you start working on something. You're like, oh, I got to do it this way. I got to do it this way. But then you start thinking, wait a minute, I'm fabricating, so I can do it any way I want. And that's what I'm finding in the bus here.
Right.
I built my cabinets and drawers and everything the way I wanted them. And I put them exactly where I wanted them. And everything is where I want it. You know what I mean? And I had to get in that mindset that I'm building it so I can do whatever I want. It don't have to be right. It don't have to be the way other people do it. As long as it fits where I need it, that's it.
And you're just limited by you.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever you can imagine. Yep.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet. Most people wouldn't think to turn it upside down and stick it back, and from another car.
No, it's like the whole thing with I just had my car just come out of the paint shop again. So we were putting the bumpers on it yesterday, and we were joking about how, hey, let's see if we can turn them upside down. See what we can do. How to look upside down. It's like I'd love to know who the first guy was to do that, and like what his mindset was. Like, let's flip this upside down because you get some really great
that a lot.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm jealous of your bus. We've got a 57 Chevy, a school bus, a little shorty one that we're wanting to work on and kind of turn into the wife and I's little toter home type deal, if you will, so we can have a place to stay and then pull a trailer and go to some shows or whatever, type of thing. And I'm excited to get started on that one, but we've just got so much on our plate right now. I can't do that. I got to stay concentrated on everything else we got to do.
Yeah. Got to pay the bills, right?
Got to pay the bills. Yep, for sure. We just moved into a bigger building here this year too. And that's been just a huge undertaking. It's a 1908 flour mill is what it is. And it's 6 stories tall. Big crazy building. And it hadn't had anybody do any kind of work in it for about 20 years. So you can imagine the state that it was in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we ended up pretty well doing everything just to be able to try to get it to where we can get in there. We still got a ton left to do, but we're finally in there. So we're still trying to recover from that as well.
Yeah, you get those kind of buildings outside of the cities. You get those buildings out in the Midwest like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you said about 6 stories up. Is it 6 floors or 6 stories high inside?
6 floors, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's got an elevator in there, but the elevator doesn't work. So that's a project for the future.
Oh, geez.
And another unfortunate is it's not big enough to put a car in. So that would have been just the coolest ever if I could have put the cars upstairs.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what are your plans for upstairs? Are you going to make it like a museum or, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do?
I'm a hoarder, so I'll probably just hoard a bunch of junk up there.
Uh-oh. More space, more junk.
More car parts.
Yeah.
More car parts for when you're sitting there building something and you go, man, I wish I had a blah, blah, blah that I could just weld on the back of this and change this up and be like, oh, wait, I got one of those upstairs, you know?
Yep.
Then you
Well,
just
the
got to
key-
remember where you put it upstairs.
Right.
Yeah. So the key thing is to document everything, so you know what you have. You know,
Right.
technology is crazy right now. There's so many different softwares and stuff where every part you get in, document it, and you know what floor it's on. You know, so you keep track of it.
Yep.
But I'm known for buying stuff twice, thinking I didn't have it the first time,
Oh.
but then I'll find it like, oh man, I had it.
I've got stuff 2, 3, 4 times that I bought. Like, wow, I got another one of these. Okay.
I've never done that before, and don't ask my wife about that either.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's on to me about that all the time. I know you got one of those somewhere.
Right.
Yep.
Sometimes it's faster and cheaper just to go buy one, though, than it is to try to look for it.
Yes.
I've caught myself 2 hours looking for something, and my wife was
Right.
like, "Well, just go to the store."
Yeah. Yep.
And
2
then
hours,
you get-
$4
Yeah,
thing for 2 hours.
Yeah, then you get crazy, like, oh man, I gotta find it. I know I got it. I know I have it. And so
Mhm.
you get,
When you want to find it, you'll never find it.
yeah.
My co-host said something to me years ago. I was looking for something, and he says, "All right, this is what you got to do. You've obviously searched everywhere 2, 3 times. Stop looking for it. Look for something else. Literally, look for something else, and you'll find the first thing." And he's right. You always do. You always find it when you're not looking for it. Like, oh shit, here it is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a curse.
So everybody in the chat, I put Anthony's website in the chat. So if you guys want to check out his channel, he's on YouTube, and then I put his website as well. And I'm also going to put I see people were talking about building a bus as well. So I'm going to put my YouTube channel for the bus. You can go check out my channel in the chat.
Can I see the chat? Is that? Oh, there it is. I had to figure out how to make this work.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. But yeah, I usually go full screen so I can see the guests. So I usually don't ever get to see the chat. Another Kansy in the house, huh?
A couple of them,
Yeah,
I think I see on there.
Anybody have any questions? Put in the chat. We'll put them on the screen. Let me go back and see if we got anything.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of people in tonight. So everybody in YouTube or Facebook, we're live on both. If you could share our YouTube channel, would be appreciated. We're trying to get our numbers up next month. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers next month. We've been around for 10 years, but we haven't really focused on subscribers, but a lot of views. Now that I'm retired, I'm going to push to get monetized. So if everybody could please share it, it would be appreciated.
Yep. And that's a hard road to get monetized. It really is. It took us quite a long time.
Yeah. I should have been doing it, but, we're doing so many different things, in the industry. So, but now I'm retired and I can put some focus to it.
Yep.
That's what we're going to do. All right, I'm going to put Joey from Mill Creek FAB. You put your website up. So that's the website. You can go check him out. And it is about 9:30. So now what we do is we have our usual guests that come on, our friends that hang out with us. These are my family members. So we have them come on. They'll probably ask you some questions, and
Cool.
now we're in the garage section where we're just hanging out with the fellas. Hey, Joey.
Hey.
Hey guys.
Brian. See who else is.
I wanted to say at the first is when I first discovered Anthony's channel, he was working on that dark green rat rod truck. He was probably about a third way done with that. I hear some feedback. Somebody needs to mute their
Stop
YouTube.
talking, Joe.
Oh, sorry, Ray.
Yeah, I'm hearing feedback too. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, but ever since watching that build, I've just really, I mean, Anthony he may not think this, but he's got such a creative mind. He reminds me of Gene Winfield a lot with what he does and the way he creates and builds. It's just amazing. And that to me is a great compliment. He's just,
that's a huge compliment. Wow, that's crazy.
yeah. If you guys watch
Thank
him,
you.
yeah. When you watch him, you're just going to be sucked in and you won't be able to take your eyes away because he's just so good at it and very informative about what he's doing. And he needs a camera person to carry the camera around so him and Connor can dig in and get stuff done while the camera person's doing the job. Get good content.
Never enough people. We need a camera person. We need an editor. We need a this. We need a that. Yeah.
That would be me, but I'm in Ohio.
Yeah.
I used to live in Kansas. And then the Jeep he's doing right now for the customer, it's a Rat Rod Willys. Well, let me go back to Hookers and Blow. Go ahead.
What year is that Willys?
It's actually a brand new body. So I guess it's probably going to end up being a 2025, I guess is what it'll end up being. The guy that owns it is in Nebraska, so I'm not really sure how the legalities of all that work out in Nebraska. So I'm not familiar. But if it was in Kansas, it'd be a 25.
All right.
Yeah.
I was just
But
on auction some Jeep.
It looks like a 40s model flat fender is what it looks like. It's one of those reproduction bodies for one of those.
Okay.
Yeah, this thing showed up at his shop in a box, and he's custom built the entire frame from front to back.
Yeah.
And he's done that on 3 vehicles now, which the Hookers and Blow, the dark green one, I forget what you named that one, but and now there's Jeep, but that I think it's called cantilever suspension.
Yeah, we've got cantilever front air ride that I built all custom from scratch on the front of Hookers and Blow and on the front of Old Crow.
Old Crow, that's the name of it.
Yeah. And it's it's all custom. And then like in the bottom link bars of it on the front there, I put Hookers on one side and Blow on the other so that we have the name in there, and then the other one just says Old Crow in it.
Yeah.
But, I should probably explain. So Hookers and Blow is the little wrecker truck that you seen earlier. So it's got a blower in the front, it's got a hook on the back. So we called it Hookers and Blow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
You don't have to explain to us. It's okay.
That's the one you built for the Rat Rod build off at the same time Arco was building Rogue.
Yeah.
And was entered in the same show, but he didn't make it, and you ended up winning the whole thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, that would be the one.
Yeah. And then
so are they doing that build off again this year coming up?
They're not doing the Radical Rod build off anymore. The year that we won was the last year that they did that. They didn't have a lot of people actually even finish or anything like that the year that I did it, and then everybody kind of just petered out. So yeah, they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
It's a pretty hard request really to build something that's unique and crazy, to try to win something like that and do it within a year, actually less than a year, about 9 months. And then, have it be something you can actually drive, and everything too.
Yeah. You did a great job. I know that. You hammered down, man, and I'm glad you won. That was great.
Now, was that the truck that you took? The Hookers and Blow?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Hookers and Blow, yeah. That's the little wrecker truck there that's on that first picture you showed of everything there.
Yeah, the red one.
The red one, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Anthony and No Class was at the same show one time, and Paul was posting in the group chat, pictures and videos of him doing the burnout thing, and Well, Anthony was right there recording as well, and they didn't know they were at the same show. I think maybe you guys ran into each other later.
Yep.
Named Paul Lyons. Yeah.
I didn't know he was there until I was sitting there video and watched him try to do burnout across the thing there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hey.
Yeah. I thought that was neat.
Yep. That's down there at Tulsa at the Starbird show we're going to next month.
Yeah.
He was talking about it.
It's a pretty wild deal. They have burnouts and flamethrowers inside the building.
Wow.
with
Really?
all of the show cars in the same building.
Oh,
Wow.
That don't sound good.
Living dangerous.
It's I think they say that building's 11 acres under a roof, and it's clear full of cars. There's I don't know how many billions of dollars worth of cars in there probably, but it's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then to do burnouts and have 30-foot flames out of stuff at the same time in that same building, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul was telling me I should come over there because I'm be in Florida. I think right around that same time.
Yeah.
So I might be able to make it over. I'm not sure yet. See what the chief and high commander says.
right.
Yeah.
She might like the ocean. You know what I mean? Might not be able to break loose.
All right.
Tell us about the C30 you've been working on.
The C50
or C50.
That one we were doing as part of the Rat Rod magazine build off, and with everything else we had going on and all that, I didn't even actually finish it the way that I was intending to for the build off. I'm still going to finish it the way that I want to, but it's a C50 Chevy. It's a 69. And I took the cab off of the old grain truck. It was straight out of tree row type of deal. And I put the cab and front clip over onto an RV chassis that we had stripped out, and big block with a 400 turbo. And I did that because the motorhome chassis had independent front suspension underneath it, and I wanted to air ride underneath the truck. So that was an easy way to do it. And with the Rat Rod magazine build off, part of the rules of that is you only have a $5,000 budget for the whole entire build. So with a $5,000 budget, you got to be creative on how it is that you're, trying to accomplish the things that you're doing. But the goal for the truck originally was to be air ride and slam to the ground with the big block and all that, and then have a sleeper that matches it on the back of it. But I didn't want just a regular square box sleeper. I wanted the sleeper to have the same body lines as the truck so that it looked like it could be something that actually might have came out of a GM factory. So I got a couple of other Chevy truck cabs that I cut, and then just used the backs of them. And I just cut the centers out and I stuck them together so that there's two backs, and then welded in the sides where the door would be. And then that's about as far as I've got with the sleeper currently. I still need to cut them in half, and then I'm going to widen them so that it actually is wide enough to where a guy can put a bed in there and actually sleep if he wanted to, and not be curled up into a ball to do it, and get that mounted on there. But we went ahead and drove the truck to Illinois for the build off, and then on the way back from driving it back, we got to about Kansas City, and we lost the transmission in it. So we had to call a buddy of mine to come trailer us back from Kansas City to Hutch, which is about 3.5, 4 hours. So that was a pretty nice deal of him to help us out that way. But,
is that like a cab over? You said a C50?
It's C50. It's not a cab over, but it's got the little stub nose on the front there. Like I'm going to say the front end's probably 8 to 10 inches shorter than like a regular C10.
And is that the big block was under the nose, or was it in the back?
I left it actually in its original position, so it's all under the hood.
Oh,
yep. And then because with putting the sleeper on there, then it would have had to been even behind the sleeper to make the sleeper work, and that would have been a long ways back there. So
well, when you put how big? What was the RV chassis from?
It's like a Southwind or whatever, but it's like a P35 chassis is what it is. So it's a big Chevy chassis. It had 19.5 rubber on it and all that kind of stuff. Big Dana 80 in the back, but disc brakes on it and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of good stuff and parts for something that's, you get for cheap. Those motorhomes are cheap. So
yeah, with $5,000, you couldn't do much.
Right.
I mean, unless does it count if you had it laying around? But I mean,
no, it's perceived value is the thing. So you can't just have a blown Hemi just laying around that we put in it, type of deal. That don't work.
Until you show the Facebook thing. I bought it for $2. I swear. Here's the ad.
Sure. I'll team you.
Several months back, you made it on the cover of Ret Rod magazine with Hookers and Blow. Is that right?
Yeah, we did. Yep.
I thought that was pretty awesome.
That was pretty awesome. Yeah, that was. I was not expecting that. They had took pictures of it. They were at the Tulsa show last year at the Daryl Starbird show there for the first time, and then they pulled us aside and asked if we could do pictures and everything. So I knew it was going to be in the magazine, but I didn't have any idea that it was actually going to be on the cover. So we got the book or got the magazine, and I was like, wow, it's on the cover. For me, as growing up, that was the ultimate thing that you could ever do. Of course, I mean, you guys are my age, so or how I'm saying. It's just to be on the cover is just the ultimate. So
yeah, I'm 29, so I don't understand that age thing. But
yeah. Like Connor, though, for instance, he's like, yeah, whatever. It's on the cover of some magazine. Who cares? Yeah. But he's only 18, so he don't get it.
Yeah. How old was he when he started working for you?
14. So he's been working for me for 4 years now.
Actually, it's more likely he'd say on the cover of a what? What?
Exactly.
Yeah. Connor has come a long way since he's been with you. It's really fun to watch him doing stuff, and I'd love to know where he buys those invisible safety glasses.
Everybody gives him a hard time about safety glasses, but for real, he does actually have safety glasses on in a lot of the videos that everybody's complaining about. They're all clear, 100% clear, and the camera doesn't pick them up all the time. Now, there is a few times that he's been on video where he didn't actually have them on there, but I'm not saying it's 100% that he does. But we've caught some hell about some times when he has had them on too. So
it's just amazing to watch that, and you're thinking, oh my God, his eyes are going to be full of metal dust from cutting, but he's got them on the whole time. You just don't see them.
A lot of the times, I get on to him. Julie gets on to him quite a bit about it too, and everything. Another thing about that too is with like grinders and stuff. A lot of people complain that they don't have guards on them too, and everything, or not wearing a face shield or something, But it's one of those things. After you've used one and you're actually really comfortable with one, it's probably, in my opinion, actually a little better not to have the guards on there and stuff like that, because once you feel those sparks hitting you in the face a few times, you recognize that, oh, hey, wait a minute, that's actually pointing towards my face. Maybe we got to turn that to where it's not pointing towards my face if it does come apart, And a lot of people don't think about that. If you have a shield on, it's going to block those few little sparks that do come at you. And I don't know. I got a different look at that than most people do, I guess. But I think it just comes from having so many hours on one that you just kind of take all that in consideration.
Yeah. Well, it's not you or the person that knows that's worked with that stuff. It's the idiot that picks one up and says, "Oh, I saw a guy use this," and not know what it does. And that's why you get all the crap. I mean, it's that what's that word? Oh, common sense. That's why
the lack thereof these days. Yeah,
right. We have to protect the idiots. I mean, I know not to touch something that you just heated up with the torch, but I still had customers say, oh, this, and they go to touch it, and you're like, dude, I just had 1,200 degrees on that. You're touching it.
Yeah.
So,
They didn't hold on to it very long, did they?
yeah. But,
Yeah.
we have to show the common sense to the idiots.
Well, thankfully, common sense is coming back since Monday. So
It is, and it's on record now. That's right. So that's exactly what I was
Yeah.
thinking, Joey. Yes.
yeah.
I'll
Oh,
tell you
yeah.
something. I worked with a guy. I'm going to go back 40 years. I'll date myself, and this guy was like an idiot savant. No one looked at him. He wasn't a highly educated guy. He was street smart, and something resonated in my head, and I've repeated this all time, through the years. He's gone for many years, but even back then, this is going back into the early 80s. He said then, he says, you know what we need in this country is we need a court of common sense. And I
Yeah.
remember the first time he said that to me, I kind of probably went over my head. And the second time I thought about it, and I said, wow, that doesn't make sense. Because then you start applying it to things that are going on around you and around you in the world, and you say, yeah, there was no common sense used here. It was just somebody applying an agenda or something that they've done before. And man, Phil, this week I was shouting him out. I said, brother, I said you had it right 40 years ago, and too bad more people didn't listen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how we can think back on instances like that where we've run into somebody with common sense, and then it plays out in our life later.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, I paid attention to it, so I kind of kept that as part of my mantra.
Yeah.
Apply common sense. Like what works, what doesn't work, and if you don't know, either ask questions or don't do something until you find out. I mean, you're always going to dive in now and again and just kind of wing something. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, for something that's more important or where you may be in a position to get hurt, like common sense can help you a lot. And a lot of people lack it. So
Yeah.
but it's back. It's back.
Yeah. So, Anthony, they're in Kansas, the area you live in. Is that maybe considered like Tornado Alley? Or
it's definitely part of Tornado Alley, I guess, but I think I've only seen 2 tornadoes in anywhere close to our town my whole life, and I'm almost pushing 50, close to it. So
yeah. When I was living there in Lawrence, we were over at Henry T's Bar and Grill eating, and the waiter or whatever they were let us know that just down the road where a brand new Kmart had just opened, it was a grand opening that day and had a grand closing that day because it was an F5. It flattened that Kmart, and right across the road was a trailer park with 300 plus mobile homes, and every one of them were wiped completely out.
Wow.
But we were like 6 miles away from this, but we could see it like it was right in front of us. And the wind, man, was just whipping around where we were at. But yeah.
So, Joe, let me ask you: Did they repopulate with trailers again, or did they do something different?
I don't know. That was in, I think, 97 or 98. And then I moved, I think it was late 99, back to Kentucky. So,
because
I don't remember.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I know, I've been looking at moving to the Carolinas now for the last couple of years and doing a lot of research, going down, spending time, talking to people, real estate, blah, 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 the whole thing. And I noticed that in the areas I'm looking, there's always a lot of mixed use property. There'll be nice houses, maybe ranch houses from the 60s and 70s, and then newer, and then there'll be like a couple of trailers, and then maybe a commercial piece of property, and there'll be nice, high-end house. It's just common. So I asked about the trailers, and I said some of them are pretty beat up and really old. They're like, why? And I found out that really what happens is they devaluate in the tax base every year. So at a certain point, it's free. There's no tax on a trailer. So I said, okay, I get that. And then I said, well, what about the areas that have the storms and the, where this stuff gets damaged? And he said down there, the counties, I don't even know if it's statewide or just countywide, but they actually encourage people, if their trailer got blown away and destroyed, they'll help subsidize them and buy a new one. It's like 20 or 30 grand. And the reason is they figure, well, we can just keep repopulating those over and over again. Whereas if we're losing houses, it's a lot more money. I just thought it was kind of an odd thing to hear.
Well, we all know that trailer parks are the target, so you got to have them. So they go there instead of anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say because that was independently owned, the trailer park, I'm sure. So that owner, probably wanted to get his income back up and going.
Yeah.
But I know the Kmart, they started the reconstruction of that. But out of all of that damage, one person died. It was a woman inside that Kmart. And she couldn't get away from the walls and stuff quick enough. And one of the walls just came down and crushed her. Yeah. And it was an older woman. She was there for the grand opening. There was a lot of people there.
Wow.
But she was the only one that died.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's unfortunate, but thankfully it wasn't more.
Yeah.
I've lived in tornado alleys. I've been stationed in tornado alleys. I've been stationed where hurricanes were prevalent. I don't like none of them. On the California coast, we haven't even had, we have earthquakes, but they're very minor where we are.
Yeah, we just have.
So
how far are you from the fires, Papa Squirrel?
Way
up north.
a good 12 hours.
Yeah, the fires are
good.
down the other end.
You ain't going down and starting the fires and then taking off, are you?
Are you kidding? I don't get anywhere near LA and those places. I wouldn't go down to start fires if you paid me.
I know. I'm just messing with you. Yeah. So that orange colored C10 step side, I noticed you moved it. Since I recommended you and peer pressured you on the show, you need to give me a good deal on selling me that truck.
I've got a long list of people that are would be very upset if I didn't sell them that truck. So I'm probably better off just to keep it rather than making all those people unhappy.
I get it.
I'd only make one happy, and everybody else would be pissed off.
Yeah. Well, Lewis, when you shared that link in the group chat to send to people that would be good for the show for a guest, I sent it to Anthony and a bunch of other people. And when he did his first video to announce that he was going to be on here, which was last week's video, he mentioned about after being peer pressured. And I thought, what? And I knew he was referring to me.
100%. 100%.
Well, yeah, he was worried he was going to say the wrong thing, like retard. I'm thinking, well, that's fine. I mean, we got Arco, so.
Well, we're laid back, man. This is like a whole bunch of guys talking in the garage.
Too many people worry about what they're going to say because everything you say can be misconstrued or you can insult somebody. And my attitude is, if you can't take it, get the fuck off the channel.
There you go.
Boom, baby.
So many people though they can get all worked up about all kinds of stuff, and I don't even personally recognize it as being a problem in any way, shape, or form to even understand why they even get worked up in the first place, So
yeah,
I'm pretty laid back that way, but I know a lot of people aren't. So I try to be as politically correct and all that as I can be when I'm on the YouTube channel,
Politically correct died yesterday at 5 p.m. It died with DEI and critical race theory.
Yeah, you signed the bill.
Well, hopefully that's true, but we'll have to wait to see if it really is the case.
Oh, it's gone. People are fighting about it, but it's gone. It ain't coming back.
The office has been disbanded. And you see
Yeah.
what happened with the ATF. The owner, they had the head honcho switch, but there's a woman who was the head of the diversity office. She was on the second line on their operational chart. I just watched a video on this tonight. So they showed her yesterday. She was there as the head of the, diversity. Today she's still there. It was the Gun Owners of America who found this out and ratted her out. They renamed her. It's like an executive, not executive assistant, but executive something or other. So they're calling for her to be fired. They're calling for her firing right now. They're saying, you know what, she's got to get out.
Yeah, I think they tried to make her an executive or something.
That's what it said. It was an executive something term.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I want to bring something to everybody's attention. Brian tried to be sneaky and not let us see behind him, but I seen it.
Listen, Brian is doing a Cassie John right now, and I think that's pretty cool.
We've seen a goat.
No. It's a figment of your imagination.
Yeah.
What did you see? I didn't see. I wasn't looking. What was it?
I saw a Mustang.
Can't miss it.
I saw a Mustang.
Yeah, it's getting there.
I just want to.
I've got the other side where I normally sit in darkness because I redid the lights. I put these 8,000 lumen fluorescent lights in, so now I can see what I'm doing.
You're definitely brighter.
And I got 3/4 of the car dug out. Going through, I'm finding all this stuff. See, this is the stuff. See, you find a bag like this.
Oh yeah.
And you open it up, and the piece of paper that I wrote on that said where it went has faded. In this bag.
Shouldn't use that disappearing ink.
So luckily I do understand that this is the driver's side door handle, window crank. I mean, I know what the parts are.
Figure it out, yeah.
Well, luckily I did write on some of them just the bag, master cylinder bolts with clutch springs.
Right.
But I've got like a whole trunk here.
You wouldn't happen to have a 7/16 thread J nut, would you?
I probably dig along in there, but
I was putting my rear bumper on, and right under the license plate there's 2 J nuts, and one of them disappeared. So I went to the parts store, but they didn't have anything in 7/16.
So, but hopefully this weekend I've got actually maybe this weekend I can if I can get the car out, I want to get it out and turn it around. So
get ready for the freak show.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty excited that we see the car and you're aiming towards it. So I'm really excited for you.
I've done a lot. I didn't realize how much. I mean, I was talking to Ray. I mean, I've got stuff spread. And of course, like I said, I was over at my mom's, and she goes, I found this box. Are these important? And it's all the.
Yes, it is.
It's the headlight switch.
Yeah.
And I could have sworn it was with the car.
Of course.
So the last 30 years, it was over at my mom's house.
Yeah.
Wow.
She goes, "You need this stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I thought it was."
Boy, that would have sucked if you were looking for that stuff and didn't know.
Well, the only problem is I've got multiples of multiples. I've made the mistakes of just continuing to have. I mean, like I said, it's a really just going through. And I wish I had taken a picture before, because literally you couldn't see the car. I mean, the car was buried from just stuff piled around it.
Yeah.
And I've got 3/4 of it. I've got to make since I don't have a vehicle anymore, and they won't let me in with the tool truck. I need to make a dump run because they won't come pick They won't pick it up with trash unless I want to pay them because it's too heavy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, what you see in Lewis is a culmination of poking and prodding and needling and conversation and actually and that was just on our part, and on Brian's part it was just really the passage of time. And let's face it, we don't clean the basement or the garage until we're ready to do it. We don't do it when we're supposed to. We do it when we're ready to do it. And now he was ready, and that's what
Yeah.
it takes. It takes you can move a mountain when you're ready. You just gotta be ready.
well, moving the mountain, yes. And when we go off, unfortunately, our viewers won't find the real reason why this happened.
Oh yeah.
Like you guys, the real reason.
I'm gonna throw that rice away.
Right.
Well, I don't.
Like
Right.
I said,
I don't care how.
I hope I can continue on.
Put rice in it. I had the wrong.
I've done a lot in the last couple. I mean, like I said,
What the fuck?
I will admit I'm about 2.5 weeks behind where I want to be, but
Not me. I learned not to do brain
I
rot.
do have the.
But look at it this way: you're like years ahead of where you were
Oh yeah, man.
just 6 months ago.
It's really sad that it was 30 years.
Well, for me, just having gone through that with a car that sat for a long time, and then actually getting it through the process, getting it through the restoration process, I mean, it hit me like, I just lived it, so it was fresh in my mind. But just hearing the cues, the things you would say, it was just like each one was like a key word that was like, yeah, he's ready, he just needs a little more pushing, a little more pushing, a little more pushing.
Yeah.
And
So you all come down 95 and stop by. Well, I got tons of work.
Right now.
We head down there next month going by you. I'll stop and beep the horn.
Beep the horn. I just hopefully the only thing that I dread or really because it's got to go out and back around. I just living on the main road. The last time I had it out, it was nonstop people pulling in.
The freak show.
And so, but hopefully, I have a end of the year. I mean, 1 year. I mean, end of the year it's supposed to be moving. So
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good. That's a good.
Nice.
Don't chisel that into stone anywhere.
Well, I did make a videotape and I almost put it on, but it's
because things move. Listen, timelines move. All sorts of stuff happens. But as long as in your head you move, as long as you're moving forward, that's all that matters. Just move forward.
I just wish I could have. Well, I mean, it's been okay. It's just hard working all day and then come home messing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So since you're not the Matco man now, what are you doing?
what do you mean?
Oh, you're still doing the Matco?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had a falling out with them.
Oh no, that's ongoing. I mean, it's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
Every week.
Yeah, I changed my phone so when Mako calls, it says potential spam. So
now that's supposed to be later on, Brian.
Yeah.
So listen,
Ron don't
Just,
have to show yet.
we got
There's
Justin
not a-
in the house here from American Gas, a hot rod shop up in Saginaw, Michigan. We haven't seen Justin in a little while.
I haven't even seen him in a little while.
Yeah, what's up, brother? You've been still doing some cool builds and
Oh yeah,
good stuff.
we're getting some stuff ready for show season already.
What's on the plate? What's on the forefront right now? You're always doing some cool.
Autorama,
Yeah.
Autorama stuff.
What builds are you featuring?
We're taking 4 this year. 2 of them are returning builds, and then we got 2 new builds. The 74 Gremlin is a new build, and then that
Right.
34 Ford, which is a Riddler contender.
Right. Yeah. That Gremlin is an excellent car to bring to a show. I think. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
excited about that car.
Yeah.
That's in 2 weeks, right?
End of February, so I think we got 5 before we leave.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been
We'll be
seeing
moving
the
it up.
pictures of that car. That's pretty neat.
The Gremlin's cool. I wish I could show pictures of the 34, but that's not allowed.
Yeah.
That's
that
wild.
Yeah, that Gremlin brings back memories from back when I was in my 20s. A buddy of mine it was a white Gremlin, and he had these 2 wide freaking wheels stuffed completely under it, big blower engine sticking out of the hood. And the car was just so radical going down the road. You know, you couldn't get on it really without a good set of slicks and some
Joey,
weight.
one year at Let East, I walked up on a car, and I just thought it was like a fuchsia color. So it was kind of odd, almost like the color of this index card. You know,
Yeah.
weird. Not pink but fuchsia. And I walk up on the back of it, and all I saw was just slicks under the back of it. There had to be maybe 3 inches between the inside of each slick.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to register what I was looking at, but I was looking at a Chevette that was with a monster motor sticking out of the hood, and the guy had to be like Brian size. I don't know how the hell he got in that car, but it was like seeing a monster machine. It was like a toy car, just all motor, all tire. I was like, oh my god, that thing! I want to drive it around the show field.
There's a guy that runs around Michigan here. I saw him up in that St. Ignace a couple times. He's got a Fiero it's on some sort of chassis, but it's got a blower Oldsmobile motor in it and big tires. The thing is so awesome.
Yeah, nice. That was a cool build. It's very cool.
Yeah. Hey, Justin, somebody just asked me in text what the name of your YouTube channel is. They want to check you out.
Just Slingshot 302.
Slingshot 302. Okay.
Yep.
So Big Charlie, Big Shot 302. Look for that on YouTube. You'll find it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Before we go much farther, and if it's okay with Lewis, I want to say something to Anthony, that if you like this show, which I'm assuming you do because you're here, and if Lewis wants you in that group, and anytime you're at the shop and you want to jump on here when there's a live going on, and you can maybe do a tour and show us what you're doing, that would be great in my opinion. But obviously it's up to Lewis. He's the big man on. Oh, all right. You're out, dude.
No, man. Look, when you come on as a guest, we say that you're family now, bro. You can come on anytime you want. And
Right on.
Are you on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have him as a friend. So
I'll send you a link, or I'll send you a request for our group. So all of us are on the group, and we share all week long. We pray for each other. We share, good times, bad times. Pretty good chat. So
cool.
We'll put you on the list.
That's on the playing in traffic chat that I told you, Lewis's dad and things like that.
Yeah, I've gotten a few of those.
Yeah, well, if you check your Facebook messages, you'll see a lot of them.
Yeah, we try to lift up everybody, man, because everybody got problems. So you know what I mean. Yeah, we've been praying for Tyler's dad. The last week he was having some heart problems. So we keep him in our prayers too.
Yeah, I'm the weird one in the group because I don't share when I have medical problems going on. But I've actually been since December 29th. The surgery that was done on my left leg in 1997. All these years later, an infection developed in that part of my leg, and they have found surgical staples, clips, gauze, all kinds of garbage that was left inside my leg when they did that muscle and skin graft. And I'm on this. I didn't take but one today because if I took all 3, I wouldn't be here because I'd already be asleep. But it's the strongest antibiotic I've ever been on in my life. And it kicks my butt. I haven't really been able to churn out any good content lately because of that. And I can't really be on my leg a lot. So it's really got me bummed out. But, it's part of life. You got to work through it and let them
When I
do their
worked at,
thing. You know.
when I worked at Wilford Hall as an X-ray tech, I remember some surgical techs and nurses being court-martialed for leaving shit in a patient. They
Yeah.
were really careful about what the hell they put in and took out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've contacted an attorney there in West Virginia, that Morgan and Morgan law firm, and we're waiting till December or January 28th. They're going to finally do an MRI of my leg, probably my whole body, and they didn't say for sure, but they kind of alluded toward from the X-ray that they believe there might be more staples, and the MRI will let us know.
Jeez.
But yeah, it's been rough, you know. But hey, I got people praying for me. But hey, anytime you guys want to pray, please do. Yeah,
Yeah, sure, we got you.
appreciate it. Yeah,
Because, like I said, when I was in the Air Force at Wilford Hall, they were super careful about stuff because most common thing was sponges. And I had to go up to surgery a bunch of times and take x-rays trying to locate stuff that turned out it wasn't there, but they were worried that it was. And,
yeah,
it's just now, from what I understand, they've got something in gauze that'll make it show up better on an x-ray.
yeah,
Because, you know, that stuff don't
yeah,
show up.
yeah. Well, the doctor that did this, I mean, he is a mastermind. Everybody else just wanted to amputate that part of my leg and my right hand, and not mess with it. But he came in, did a fabulous job getting circulation and everything put back together in both my left leg and right hand. So I give him credit for that. But he's one of those people that, you know, when you're in a hurry and you get halfway through or all the way there and you realize you forgot something, and that's what it's been. That was what it was with this guy through all these reconstructive surgeries. He would leave gauze inside my right wrist, and I'd have to bring it up to him so he could remove it. And so, yeah, it's just amazing after over 27 years that infection was so bad that if I hadn't went to the doctor when I did, it probably could have got in my bloodstream and killed me. So
Yeah, that would have been the end of that.
yeah. But anyway, don't mean to be the downer of the show, but
So Anthony, I'm trying to add you to our chat, but it won't let me for some reason. I think because it's a business page.
Oh, you might have to go to my personal one, just Anthony Bronner.
Okay, I'll do that.
There's a picture of Hookers and Blow on there for my picture and on the main thing there.
Okay. Keep talking, guys. You're not a punishment.
Ray, I hadn't forgot you, buddy.
How could you, Vince? How could you?
Well, I got those two Anson mags that are going to be coming your way, since I never could get back in touch with your relations there.
That's right. I got to. I reached out to him, and I had to talk to him about something else too. I'm gonna do that tomorrow.
I'm in Georgia now, so I'm not in Charleston anymore.
Oh, you are in Georgia now. You are relocated. Okay.
Yeah, I left Somerville. I had to be out of that place at the 30th, and I was gone on the 30th. So
Wow. So you're back in the old homestead area.
yeah, back in the state where I was hatched.
All right, well, that's got to be nice. How far from where you were raised?
About 18 miles.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's close. Nice.
Playing in snow.
Yeah, we only had about 2 or 3 inches here, but what it did is before it started to snow, it was slating and raining, and then it snowed. So we didn't get a lot of snow, but a couple inches. But what we got is, hard packed, and then what melted off a little bit, then froze over hard again, this morning. So
Yeah.
just been hanging around the house today. Ports in Savannah and Charleston were closed. So they're like, I didn't even want to take the trucks out, when it's that slushy. It's not that I don't know how to drive in it, but everybody else is.
The other idiots.
Well, that whole area down there is not meant for snow. So
No, they just don't have the equipment, Brian. I mean,
I know that.
South Carolina, they literally had like 6 snow trucks, and that was it for the whole state. 6.
Yeah, where
Many moons ago, we lived in outside of Augusta, Georgia, and they only got a dusting, and that was the end of the world for down there at that time. So
where my daughter's at in North Carolina, she's had days off of work because, they had a dusting, and she said, "Dad, send me some pictures of the snow from New York." So I did. I just sent her a couple of pictures I had on my phone. She goes, "I got to show them to these people at work because they have no idea, what real snow looks like." And she goes, they were amazed when they saw the pictures. I said,
when we lived in Oklahoma, we had gotten some freak little snow thing, and it was a couple inches. And of course, we're the only kids that had sleds. So when we pull the stuff out, and all the other kids are like, "What the hell is that?" And it's like, So
I mean, what's it mean when there are places in Florida that had 10, 11 inches of snow in Florida?
Yeah, I know.
Tallahassee. Oh, yeah.
Florida's not supposed to get snow. Come on now.
Well,
that's why all the people from up here go down there.
Yeah.
Well, it's as some people say, it's a sign because somebody got in the White House and the world's gone to hell now. So,
Yeah.
Well, it went the wrong way. It's supposed to go hot, not cold.
I don't know, man, but
like the thing
ever since,
we really didn't get much snow to speak of, but we got freaking cold.
Yeah.
It is cold.
I thought it was because he fixed global warming.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, Ray, it's only 27 here, so.
Yeah. It's actually 27 here right now.
It's closer to 2 or 7 here.
Something else I remember about Anthony is he had this square body flatbed. It used to be a fire truck that was in beautiful rust-free condition, absolutely gorgeous. And he was on, was it Barrett Jackson or?
We took that one to Meekum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he sold that on Meekum. I watched it go across the stage there on TV. It's pretty cool.
That was a beautiful truck.
Yeah.
It only had 17,000 original miles on it. I've never drove a square body that felt like it was apparently new. I didn't know that's what they were supposed to feel like. It felt better than the new trucks they sell now.
Well, fire trucks aren't supposed to have a lot of miles on them unless they're in the wrong areas. Like here in California, down in the south. Fire season every year.
Yeah. Anthony.
Did you guys see the 87 Chevette go for $30,000 the other day?
Yes, the silver one. Yeah.
I heard about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had one just like that.
DeFeo did a video about that, saying like, "What the hell is going on?"
They had some Honda Civic, some stock Honda Civic.
I'll tell you, his theory may hold water. He's proclaiming that we're going to see more utilitarian cars being bought up. Like a Chevette, or like maybe a Dodge Dart, or something that was just nondescript back in the day, but just would last. He thinks that's going to be the next collectible. That's going to be, I mean, if you can find them, they're still older, so you got to be able to find them in good shape.
Ooh,
You could be wrong.
lost my light.
Ray, I remember years ago hearing a story about that the Chevette was built initially for the Bell, and those were for technicians and people that a pure utilitarian vehicle, and that they were never intended to be sold to the public. They were supposed to be sold, used by the Bell, Ma Bell, Northern Bell, Southern, Bell
Right,
style. And there was such a demand when people saw these little cars, and they, started talking, I guess, with GM about, hey, how can I get this? And I guess eventually somebody said, hey, there's a market for it.
But that was part of the gas, when the gas thing really started going off, and that's when you had like the very first those Honda CCVs or whatever come across the small, and that was.
I figured it was all because of the CAFE regulations, and they just had to build a super efficient car to balance out the Corvettes and the other stuff.
Well, that's true also. I mean, that's the whole thing, like with the that point spread on the electric cars, you had to have.
Exactly.
That's how, what's his name? He was selling his, because he didn't, he would sell his points across the other board.
Right.
They would use it.
They've always done that.
Well, yeah, you got to have a winner for the gas mileage to make up for.
Well, yeah. I mean, before that, you go back to the early 70s, and it was the Vega, which didn't work well because the engine was a great idea, but the execution was flawed. They just kept plugging away at it. And now here's something I found out. I have a Fiat Spider, and most of them, mine is like most of them, were the 5-speed manual. But I had a guy a few towns away he worked in a plant in Italy, and he was there 6 months of the year, and here the other 6. And he had a nice little repair shop in his backyard, so I used to buy and trade parts with him. And I'm there one day, and I see a Spider up on jack stands, and I notice the car had an automatic transmission in it. And I knew they came that way, but not many. And I recognized the shifter, but like I knew I've seen it before, but I just couldn't place it because it was out of place. And I asked him, I said, what transmission is in this car, and why is that shifter there? And he said, it's a Chevette transmission, and that's the Chevette shifter. I'm like, exactly. That's how I recognize the shifter. I said, so how did a Chevy transmission get into a Fiat? I said, did you put that in? He goes, no. At the time, in the 70s, GM owned 30% of Fiat. I didn't know that, but this is going way back. So as such, they were able to, I guess they made a deal. Fiat wanted to make X amount of cars with an automatic, not many. And GM had the transmission because it was in the Chevette. Perfect platform, similar size car and, power ratios and whatever. And bada bing. I guess I don't know what they had to do to adapt it to the engine for bell housing, but it was there. And I said, wow, it's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Didn't they put a transmission in a Rolls Royce too, Ray?
Yeah, probably. And I'll tell you this, I know in my Spider, it's got an electronic ignition. So it's got a distributor with a magnetic pickup, and the coil is mounted on the inner fender well. And under the coil is a heat sink, and under the heat sink is a 4-pin GM module that you find in an HEI distributor. So they also source ignition parts from Chevy. So, cool stuff.
Didn't American Motors do that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
American Motors borrows from everybody. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. That Gremlin, prime example.
What did they use in the Gremlin, Justin? From
What's thinking?
There's a little bit of everything. I've got GM parts, Dodge parts, Ford parts.
Not anything here.
A little bit of everything.
Okay. Yeah, I know that AMC in general used stuff from other manufacturers regularly. So.
Yeah. Anthony, you have a fan in the chat named Carla Marlowe. She says, awesome hardcore fab.
Cool.
I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's probably
don't
from your
know off the top of my
channel.
head.
Well, like Carla, I need a fan. I'm looking for an electric fan
Here she comes.
with a shroud. So if anybody's got a connection, I'm looking.
Does anybody know what Tyler changed his channel name to? I thought it was Mr. Longshot Performance.
I'm not sure. He just posted something today on Facebook, so you might be able to find it there.
Oh, okay. Let me try that. Bill Cameron is putting out a call to prayer. I told him to add Tyler's dad, Mr. Pops, to it. He's wanting to know the channel name. See, that's Hardcore Fab's link I dropped in the chat. That's Paul Lyons. I don't know. So, Anthony, I need a fixture table hole jig for drilling the holes in the metal plate.
Mm-hmm.
And you have that nifty plasma table.
Yeah.
And that would be the idea of making a really nice jig. This way, you know you're getting precise holes. Would you be able to make something like that?
The plasma table wouldn't probably be the best for that because on the round holes like that, they don't end up being perfect.
Okay.
Until they end up being bigger holes, like say around 3/4 of an inch or so, somewhere in that neighborhood, and bigger.
Yeah.
I don't know what size they usually use on those fixture tables.
3/8 or no, 5/8.
I was going to say 1/2 inch or something. I thought, but
yeah,
when they're in that neighborhood, at least my table, anyways, my plasma table's pretty old. I've had it for like, probably going on 15 years, and it was used when I bought it. So mine doesn't do super precise, really small holes. If I'm doing something that needs to be precise, I usually end up having to go back through and drill them out after I cut them. So
what you're saying is I should get my flat bar and set up a jig on my drill press table to where as I'm sliding it across for each hole, they're getting done in the same row, not.
That would probably be your nicest way to do it. Yeah. As far as, they sell one at Harbor Freight for, I think, like $250 or something.
Yeah, that's what I was going to tell you. But the only problem with the Harbor Freight one, you got to really watch it because it is slightly bowed. There's been a couple of videos on there, but it's very easy. But there's a guy, and I'll think of his name in a minute, that I watched. I just watched him build a jig. He showed how he built the whole jig out in his table. What was that guy's name? Young guy, Mark. No, Mike. No, Mark.
Now that's cool when a Matco guy gives you tips about how to use a Harbor Freight tool.
I'm just saying. I'm looking at. I went and looked at it over the weekend because I'm thinking the same thing.
That's the table you're talking about, right? That's the
the table.
Yeah.
And like I said, they have that the newer one, and there's been fairly good write-ups on it. A few guys have gotten them, and one guy said he just doubled it up and got it down, but there are slightly had a slight problem, and I think it was in the table. The guy, they show him how they straighten them out. But that one guy, I can't think of his name. He's a Canadian guy I watch, and he just built a table and showed how to make the jig so all your holes come out right and everything.
Right. Fitzy Fabrication?
Huh?
Is it Fitzy's Fabrication?
No, that guy's good too, but this is a younger guy. I can't
make it custom.
Watch your photo. I think he's
okay, she can come up. Come on.
Probably make it custom.
Yeah.
Come here.
He's got I know he's got a rat rod thing, and
That a girl. Hi, sweetheart.
I'll have to look through my thing I'll send, but he was Like I said, I've watched a couple things on making, but I don't know. Like I said, they said
I
for
don't
the,
even
for the
have.
price that Harbor Freight they say for the price that Harbor Freight, you can't go wrong with the price.
Have you seen the new commercial? I just saw it like started yesterday. It's a Jeep. The guy's driving a Jeep, and like an older Jeep that's restored into a Harbor Freight lot, and they're hitting a couple taglines saying that if you're serious about working on stuff and you want to and you're all about saving money, you can do it for less, and they actually, instead of pushing like the Icon line, they said, we manufacture a lot of our own stuff, and they show a toolbox drawer full of Quinn ratchets. I was like, why are you pushing that shit? Push the good
Yeah.
stuff, not the bottom line stuff. But they're trying. They finally have a commercial saying, you can do it for less at Harbor Freight, and I was kind of surprised. It's, I guess, the new marketing campaign. But
There's a there's a question for Anthony in the chat. It says, "What kind of headlights are you running on the Willys?"
On the one that we're building right now, I don't have any headlights on there yet. The one that we built a year or two ago, those were headlights that were actually made for a newer Jeep. The newer Jeeps still have the 7-inch headlights in them, and so you can get the ones that have the halos and all that kind of stuff that are for a Jeep, and you can modify them over to the older stuff pretty easy. So that's what was in that particular one.
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's nice we have 7-inch lights to work with. There's a lot of options.
Yeah. And since then, now there's a lot of companies that are just making the 7-inch lights for other things anyways, but
Yeah, I've got a 95 Blazer, S10 Blazer, and I got the Holley LEDs. They're the square lights.
You did buy those, huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with them.
That's
pretty happy with
right. I
them.
remember you sent pictures, right? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Right. Now I remember.
Yeah, we've had them on, gosh, I guess it's probably been 6 months or more now. I think I put it on right either in the summer or right before summer.
I mean, here's a guy that'll spend $300 on a set of specialty sockets that he'll hardly use, but he won't buy the headlights that he actually could use, and you go off and buy them.
Hey, those lights were the regular lights were so dim. We got this patch of road on the way home, and it's a 2-lane. It's a fairly
scientists recommend
busy
to help prevent dementia.
But it would be so dim, the cars behind me would be lighting up my path.
Yeah.
So I for years I was like, I got to do something. I've looked at all these different LEDs, and I don't want to get something that's garbage. And I saw the stuff for the Holley ones, and I got them off of Summit Racing. But I put them in. There's a little bit of stuff I had to do to get them in the bucket and everything, but for the most part, they fit pretty good. And I was happy. They shine. They're not too bright, and they're bright enough.
Are those HID or are those LED?
LED.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you run an HID, don't you have to have like a ballast or some kind of something else that goes with them besides just a light, I believe.
Yeah, I knew somebody that did the HIDs, and that's something that I had thought about before. But when he did it, they were just they were so bright, but then he had to wire in the ballast or whatever the extra stuff was, and I didn't want to do all that. The Hollies were pretty much plug and play. Like I said, they're LED, and there wasn't anything extra I had to put into them.
Well, the bottom line with that was that the HDI or whatever, that was just a stepping stone before the LEDs. I mean, nobody uses really the.
Well, but the difference is the HIDs are DOT approved and the LEDs are not.
Mm.
So.
Oh, Ray.
Hey, listen.
I mean, I'm not running.
In 2 weeks,
I'm not running
there's gonna be no more
LEDs.
DOT, so don't worry about it.
You're right. Yeah, that's right. DOT will be out with the DOJ. Right.
We don't need. We're still alive. I can't talk yet, so stop.
And until then, I misspoke. It wasn't LEDs. I don't remember what I got. They're just brighter.
You know what? It's 10:30, so I'm gonna end the live.
Good idea, Lewis. Good idea.
All right, hold on a second. All right, oh, wait a minute, wrong guy.
You're signing. Hey, you're signing off, Anthony.
Yeah,
Just say goodbye.
See everybody later, I guess.
Still a guy with the glasses and beard. It doesn't matter on the color. Just you're it, man. Say goodbye. What happened to him?
He disappeared.
He disappeared. He took himself off.
He snuck out.
I thought we were all signing off. Well, when he says he's signing off, he don't play around.
That's it, man. And left us live. There he is. Come on. Oh. He's got the hamsters rolling on the grid. I
kicked myself out.
Hey man, you get to plug it back in. Couldn't go off the grid anymore, huh?
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna stay live because we have a lot of people still in the chat room, so I don't want to kick them off. So we'll stay live.
Okay. You ain't going to bed, are you, Lewis?
No.
Oh.
Just starting to get good too.
Yeah.
Anthony,
another 15 minutes. We'll stay live, and then everybody in Facebook and YouTube out to come see us next week.
Well, this is a good thing because.
So just be careful what you admit that you have that you shouldn't have on your vehicle that the government would come look at you for.
None of us we don't have anything, but this is the best part of it because for all these years, and I got to say, for the better part of 8 years, we've been staying on late and doing after shows, and it evolved through different kind of trends. And Lewis always had to leave early. He never got to see what was going on. I mean, we told him about it, but now he sees for himself, like, how the night would loosen up. It'd be like being in a car, and it's like, now it's like 1, 2 in the morning, and everybody's like, flying loose and telling lies, and it would get brutal sometimes, man. We would have such fun.
Oh yeah.
The shows with Chassis John, we would talk hours on music and food.
Well, that's how it started. It started with me and John talking music, right? And Vince, you joined us. That was really the beginning of it.
The only thing I can say about that is, well, at least we don't talk about food. I've lost 30 pounds because I'm not going back up cooking the meal after because we've been talking about food.
I know. Me neither. That was always John would always start that. I gotta go get me some. And I'd go up and have like ham and cheese, and I would feed the cat, feed me. Brian's sending pictures of grilled cheese sandwiches he's making at 1 in the morning. We would go off the hook.
Yeah, I remember one of my most memorable shows, which I've loved them all for Playing in Traffic, is when Lewis had Stacy David on here.
Yeah.
And the after show, even before he went live, man, we were just having fun, enjoying each other's company. It's just a great time, really.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of them too, like Joe and Amanda Martin, Mark Warman.
Well, a lot of times too, Joey, the guests would always leave early. They would usually leave early. Like Dan Short, he hung out every time. I think he always stayed late.
Yeah,
but the rest of them usually left early, and we were on our own. And that's when there was no filter, no recording.
Yeah.
And
I just talked to Dan.
No evidence.
And Joe, a couple of weeks ago, so they'll be back on the show.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Cool. I'd like to see Stacy back on again too. He's Stacy David. Yeah, he's starting a new project of that old Chevy pickup. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet. He's been posting pictures and it's not Copperhead, it's another one.
I want to know what happened to that international record that he was doing.
Oh, that would be freaking awesome to see that back on the show. Golly.
Did he
I
finish
remember
that one?
one time he was on what we used to jokingly refer to as the witness protection because he had the audio, but he didn't have the video signal.
Yeah.
He did the show just on audio.
Yeah, and I think he started that project when he was still out in California. He's in Tennessee now, and I don't know if that came with him or not.
That was a long time ago. I don't think
Yeah,
it did.
and then
I think
that Camaro, that I think it was an 80 or 81 Z28 Camaro, how he converted it
It's just
to
the
look
right.
like a 1970 Camaro by changing a few body panels.
You can go both
And-
ways with those cars. We know about that.
Yeah,
Are you ready to eat?
yeah. I didn't see that one completed either, but again, he went through a lot of changes. So.
Okay.
Hey, I got a question. I'm looking at a couple of Jeeps. Anybody have any experience with the 4-door Jeeps?
Yeah, they're junk.
Yeah.
Most of them have the V6 motor in them, and you don't want the V6
Yeah,
motor.
you want the straight six.
Yeah.
I've heard you also have to watch out with the chassis. The frame it's weak in the middle or something.
Yep. There you go. Every one I've had, it's always been a motor, the transmission, or the frame. And I just quit getting them because I've just had nothing but trouble out of them.
Outside of that, they're not. Outside of that, they're not bad. I mean, my daughter's boyfriend has one, and it's got the V6. His is a manual. It's not too much of a dog. I went underneath and looked at his chassis, and his chassis seems okay. But the inside, it's like a regular Jeep, except for with a second row. They're pretty, in that sense, they're nice. But I know, like he was asking, he wants to either put an LS or something in it, some type of V8.
Yeah. Lewis, you'd be better off just get a Volkswagen, cut a hole in the roof so you can sit up straight when you're driving.
Yeah. The thing about pulling something behind the bus in those Jeeps, they're pretty easy pulling. I had a guy pull up. Yeah, I had a guy pull up the other day with a Hemi in his Jeep, and it was sounding pretty good. He had it cammed up and everything.
Yeah, Dennis Collins does that a lot on his Jeeps. They have the conversion kit that you can buy.
Yeah,
they come with it. You can order one with. I mean, they come with them. I mean,
yeah, I know.
But it's like I said, they're junk.
Thank you, Brian, for backing me up.
Yeah, I just.
Yeah, I'd go.
Ray, I'd get a CJ.
When I had a Jeep dealership I went into, Chrysler dealership, and when you went into the parts department and the whole back wall was filled with the motors coming in and out of those things, and we're talking a 40-foot long wall, and we're talking 2 deep, 2 high of motors going back and coming in and out of there.
Wow.
That's and actually the saddest thing about all this, I go into a Ford dealership that I've been selling tools for 23 years now, and I go into this Ford dealership, and I have never in my life time going in there see as many motors that they put in these newer motors on these newer vehicles in the last 10 years have been just garbage. And they have so much oil consumption problems, rings, Toyota, Lexus. You talk about something that was built on reliability. You talk about a Toyota and those what are those 2.5 motors or whatever, those 4 cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Either you got to put a short block in it, either you put pistons in it, or you put a ring in it. It all depends on what the stamp on the side of the piston says. So they got to tear it apart, see what it is, and that's where they go. And you're getting that. And I'm like, I cannot believe that they've regulated, they've let these things out there. But so many of these cars, I've never seen so many places doing motors. And then the problem is they all want to put junkyard motors in. The junkyards don't even have motors anymore. Remember back in the day, you could get a motor for $500 from a junkyard. Now they all want $2,000 for it because you can't find the stuff.
Yeah. And what is it you're looking for again, Lewis? Four-door. Are you looking for the 4-door Jeep with the removable top type, or?
Yeah, the hard top.
I might know where one is. My cousin Rodney, this one he's got is really sharp. It's beautiful. I just a few months ago went to Mansfield, Ohio for him, did a parts run to pick up a brand new set of rims and tires for that Jeep. I put on a bigger tire, with a fancy looking rim. And he may sell it if the price is right. I don't know what you want to spend, but he knows what he's buying.
That's why I asked you guys. 'Cause, I knew you'd give me a good review.
Yeah, I'll let him know you're interested in buying one, and he can let me know then if he'll probably say it's not for sale, but if you wanted to try to work out a deal, he might do it. So,
otherwise, like Ray was saying, you may want to go with an older Jeep. You just won't have the 4-door.
Yeah, but they ride terrible. The short frame or wheelbase, man, I'm thinking bounce you around.
I mean, think about what you're going to be doing with it, though. It's going to be hopping around when you're not going to go cross country.
Yeah,
there's an unlimited Jeep, the older ones that's a longer wheelbase. It's almost the same wheelbase as the 4-door, but it's 2-door.
Oh, really?
Kind of like the old back when they had CJ7s and stuff. They had the Renegades that had the longer bed and stuff. Kind of like that, but the newer ones.
Yeah, I was going to say CJ7 because he's got one of them too, but it's more off-road than main road. But
I'm looking it up right now.
Huh? Oh.
You said the CJ7s?
Yeah. CJ5s, you're just cramped up too much. I had one of those, and I just couldn't get my seat to go back far enough and ended up having to make a whole new bracket to move my seat back in order to be able to comfortably push the clutch and the brake and the gas.
Details.
Yeah.
Ray, what do you have? You got a
FJ Cruiser.
What is it?
FJ Cruiser.
FJ, yeah.
Yeah, that one Rodney's got. That's something I would drive down the Vegas Strip. Beautiful black color and got those black rims with the silver accents in them. Just a sweet looking Jeep.
Lewis, the guy that I bought my camper from, used to tow a crew cab 4-wheel drive F-150. So,
yeah,
I mean, you've got options you can tow behind that thing.
Well, like Ray said too, it depends on what do you want to do with it. What do you're going to tow it behind, but also when you're parked, what are you going to do with it? How much driving are you going to do?
Yeah, not much, probably.
Because if you want something off-road that rides comfortable and whatnot, my daughter has a 3rd-gen 4Runner, and that's pretty nice. I mean, you can take it off-road. It's tough as hell, but like she has to drive it to Phoenix several times a week, and she has no problem with it.
Norma.
The only problem she had was right before Christmas, when the U joints went out and the CV joint on the drive shaft went out, and I had to have the drive shaft rebuilt. But that was no big. I mean, that's wear and tear. It was no big deal, and we got it put in, and it rides smooth.
Yeah. I don't know if
we'll do.
You know Norma Bronner, Anthony?
Yeah.
Okay, she was in the chat, but she said good night. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Earlier, when Lewis was telling you about his bus and how the roof was raised 18 inches and all that, remember the videos I was posting up on back in 2021 for the Raise the Roof event? It was going on in Youngstown. Well, that was the bus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same bus.
Yep.
And
Cool.
he's just about got that thing finished out. And then as soon as the weather breaks, I'll be taking his brackets to him that will house his mini split system. So yeah.
About 4 more rolls of duct tape, it'll be done.
Yeah, that's crazy. Duct tape. I better not find duct tape on that bus. I'll bust every window in it out. Oh wait, you ain't got none left.
A buddy of mine and I bought 21 buses from a bus building place that's locally here in our area. That these were all like crash test dummies and things like that. You know, they did for
Yeah.
all kinds of different research or whatever, you know, on them. And I'm going to steal one of the chassis out from underneath one of those and put it underneath my 57. So it's going to have basically a brand new, less than 50
Wow.
miles chassis underneath it, motor and training and everything. So I'm
How many
excited
do
for
you
that.
have?
Was that
You still have them?
the buses?
Yeah.
We still have some of them. We sold a few of them, but we still got some Chevys left with 6.0s in them.
I know a guy with a bus that's looking for a rear end.
That's what I was just thinking myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know that guy too.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's where I'm going with it. Do you have any of the activity buses?
These were all like short buses for some of them are for daycares and things like that, or just a short bus for schools. I think it's like a 15-foot wheelbase. That's kind of what it is.
Wow. That's too small for Lewis.
Too small.
Yeah, I'm looking for to change my gearing on this bus. So I'm looking for an activity bus or a semi. You know, I can run with a box truck rear end. I just need the guts. I don't need the whole rear end.
Lewis,
Papa Squirrel might sell you the rear end out of his box truck.
These buses were all like a 14 bolt in the back is what was in them. So it's a smaller rear end than what you've got by far.
Oh yeah.
Lewis, have you checked with Edelman's truck parts?
What's the name of it?
Edelman's.
No,
They
I
got a
haven't.
location in somewhere in Ohio and they got another location in Chicago. They do rear ends, drive lines, engines, transmissions. They do,
Oh yeah. Spell it for me, please.
I'll send you a link.
Okay.
I'll send you a link to one of their pages.
Yeah, because this bad boy, when I get over 55, man, it starts talking.
A school bus is not really made to run 70 miles an hour down the interstate. So
Yeah, so that's where the activity buses come when they take the kids to like football games and that stuff. The bands, they got better rear ends.
Yeah,
that's the way our the C50 is that we put together. It had that old motorhome chassis underneath there, and it had the big block with the 454 and the 400 in it. And I don't know what gear's in the rear end of it, but it's super low. That thing was wrapping at like $3,000 at 60 mile an hour when we were driving it to Illinois. It was a long trip because we couldn't go. I didn't want to push it much past 60.
Oh yeah,
that was a hell of a break-in.
Yeah, but now with the new motor in it and the new training, I put a 4L80 in it, so hopefully the overdrive will let us get up to at least highway speed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't realize until you hit the freeway. Like, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Yep.
I like to ride, man. I can't be going 55.
I can't. You should put that on the windshield. I can't drive 55.
Yep. Or I'm stuck on 55.
Yeah.
Not driving 55, it's stopping.
Well, the good thing is, Lewis, Trump had said it in his campaign, and he just said it on a video yesterday. He said it on Instagram that he will be putting forth and he will push the national reciprocity law on a federal level. So
nice.
That's good for all of us who travel.
Yeah. Did you also see where he reversed that mandate of everybody upgrading to electric cars?
Oh yeah, that was one of the first things. Yeah.
Yep. I thought that
Hey, hold
was
on,
awesome.
guys. I'm gonna get off real quick. Hold on. Let's see.
Try this again.
Hold on.
Gonna get off. That ain't the right word to use.
Okay, everybody.
Uh-oh.
I'll thank everybody that was in the chat. We're going to sign off now, and I appreciate everybody in Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So we do this every Thursday night. If you ever want to come back and hang out with us, we will welcome you with open arms. And please share, like, and subscribe. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.